Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. Today, we will be joined by Erwin as well in about 10 minutes' time. However, we've got a nice and compact panel for this evening. Myself, of course, joined by Age of Box Empires, Boxenberger, and the General Chief. How are you both doing today? First of all, General C, how you doing, brother? What you been up to? What you been playing?
I'm tired. I've been working on my studio for YouTube and hopefully streaming. I haven't really had a chance to play many games. Just a bit of Back 4 Blood. That was last weekend, just passed. Played a bit of Back 4 Blood. I'm really excited for Halo after seeing that overview, and we're going to get into that, and I can't wait.
Yes, definitely. Age of Box Empires. I mean, it's not hard to know what you've been playing. How are you doing today, brother? How are you doing? What you been up to? Other than
What have
can
I
tell
been up
everybody.
to?
Yes,
Yeah,
go on.
I literally had to pull myself away from playing Age of Empires to not just join this show, but also make a video this week, which I just uploaded. And but otherwise, Age of Empires has completely consumed me. I was provided with a review code, but a little late. I just told it to you in the green room. They literally sent me the review code 1 minute after the embargo dropped. So everybody had their video reviews already up when I actually got the code. But still, I'm able to play the game early, which is awesome because it just aligned with me finishing Far Cry 6. I finished that on like Sunday. Fantastic game. Actually, I don't get the criticism at all. I mean, it's a Far Cry game. Yeah, what do you expect? It's Far Cry gameplay mechanics. Yes, there are bases to liberate. There are the standard things to do, but it's an awesome sandbox. You can do crazy stuff in that world. I had so much fun playing around to see just how crazy can I go. And the story was actually really good. At some points, a little predictable, but the ending was truly surprising. I did not see that coming, and it stuck with me. I loved it. I gave it a 9.0. It's a good game, really good game, no doubt. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And now I'm hooked on Age of Empires 4, and I highly recommend everyone to check that game out. It comes out tomorrow, and if your PC can't handle it, don't worry. You can also play it via xCloud.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. So there's definitely no excuse to not play it, because it really is something special. They managed to modernize that classic formula with little things like the mechanics, how they set up the inventory and the menus, with the way how you group your units together and stuff. It's small things, but they really nailed to modernize it. It still has the same hook like it had 20 years ago now. And actually what surprised me the most is the quality of the campaign. The campaign is so well narrated, really, really well done, with a lot of diverse approaches in the mission design and level design, and the narration of that of the campaign is so good. And we talked about that also in the green room, but the quality of the cutscenes is insanely good. They have these little, I wouldn't say documentaries, because the actual documentaries are optional. You can watch them in the menu, but they have that cutscenes where they, for instance, film the city of London in modern days, and then they blend in some of the characters from the actual game, and they battle out an ancient battle from the 11th century or something, and they blend that together. And in the middle of modern days London, while there are cars driving around, and that looks fantastic. And the image quality in those scenes that are filmed in real life is the best I've ever seen. For me today, the standard in image quality was like the documentary Planet Earth, which I have on 4K, on a 4K Blu-ray, which has an insane quality of just the image itself. But Age of Empires somehow topped it. They filmed those scenes so magnificent, so they look so awesome. It's hard to not watch them, because the quality itself is so good. And I've been tired the entire week, because I always stay up till 2 a.m. And every day, can't stop playing. It's so good.
I want to ask you a question then, because I haven't had a chance to play it yet, and I mentioned this before. I'm obviously looking to upgrade the laptop very soon. I've got a gaming laptop. It's getting on a bit now, 4 years old, so I don't want to be putting a game like that and not experience it the best it can be, so I'm waiting for the new laptop. But my previous favorite Age of Empires was Age of Empires 2. How do you compare?
Same.
It was, yeah. So
Yeah,
in comparison
it was
to
also my
previous
favorite.
ones,
Yeah.
how do you compare it then? Is this like significantly better in all aspects, or how do you go so far?
Okay, that's a very good question. First, let me say 2 was also my favorite so far in the series. So I think we aligned here. Well, I haven't even finished the campaign yet, so I don't want to say it's better or worse. It's hard to tell. What really stands out to me is you start up the game, you immediately feel at home. If you have played one of the older ones, especially 2, you immediately feel at home. You find these little workers that can collect berries and collect the wood, and everything is there. But the way how they set it up, how they structure the menu and the UI, just feels a little bit more modern. And then you think, oh, I can do that with them. Oh, I can hide my workers if for instance, another army attacks my village. Yeah, I can simply hide my workers in the forest nearby. That's awesome. That's smaller mechanics like that really make it a little bit more modern than before, and also the AI of the that you play against is really good. It's not in the previous Age of Empires. If you increase the difficulty, that basically meant that the AI that you play against simply does stuff a little faster,
Yes,
and
very fast.
They didn't
through the ages like rapidly.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just had to become faster in clicking everything and setting up everything, but you didn't have to think about a different strategy. And I don't have the feeling that the AI does that in this one. The AI actually plays better when you increase the difficulty. Yeah, you can really tell, okay, they're trying to flank you, they're trying to scout you out. If you increase the difficulty, see your weaknesses, they try to strategically rob you of your gold reserves or your whatever stone reserves, and I love that it's not just, it's like in a shooter. Yeah, if you increase the difficulty and the enemies simply become bullet sponges, that's not good. It's always better if the AI simply becomes smarter, and that's definitely the case in Age of Empires 4, and I love that. So yes, it is definitely improved on more or less all aspects, but when you compare it to Age of Empires 2, but then, of course, how old is Age of Empires 2 now?
Very old.
I want to say like 20 years or something, 15 to 20 years.
You know what it is? It still holds up to this day, though. I can
I know.
Like, I've still got it installed on my PC now, and I can easily jump into it and just play it through it like consistently. But I've always been a fan of the custom game modes where you can just do a huge map and you pick, like, okay, I've got like 8 different nationalities that are going around, and each one of them has to do the settlements, and then you play conquest mode, so you've got to get to like not only just get to the final age, but you've got to wipe out everybody that's not on your team. And of course you can then choose to pick a side to join you, or just go through the diplomacy route where you try and make allies throughout the game and win through diplomacy. It's never the way I do it. You conquest, destroy.
You conquer everything and destroy everything. I know what you mean. You can. That's actually the first mode I booted up. I didn't boot up. Unfortunately, not a tutorial. I didn't boot up the campaign. I directly jumped into a custom-made match. I chose them to be the Mongols and set up that huge map. In Siberia and everything, and and then I totally got crushed. So I decided to take a step back and play the actual amazingly designed tutorial. There's a little story in the tutorial. It's a story in itself, the tutorial, and it really helps you to introduce it, because it is a strategy game after all. It is complex, and even though you're familiar with the franchise, it's been a while since I actually played it, and it really helped out. And then and then the tutorial actually leads you directly over into the campaign. And I thought, okay, if the campaign is anywhere as close as good as the tutorial was, I'm in for a treat. And you boot up that campaign, and the first cutscene comes on, and you look at that and you think, wow, that looks, that the image quality super impressive. And then you actually start to listen to what the lady, the narrator, says.
Yeah.
And then you get immediately transferred over into the first mission and level design. It's a big battle on a big battlefield, and man, so good. I don't know what to say other than everyone should give it a chance. Again, it's on Gamepass. That you can really turn the specs down. So you have to have a really, really bad PC to not being able to run it. Yeah.
Do you think it'll come to Series X?
That's a very good question.
I think what they could potentially do is maybe even xCloud it and just allow you to use keyboard and mouse, or just stipulate if it's on PC, on Xbox, then you use a keyboard and mouse. I think
I would be surprised if you can't actually do that right now.
Yeah,
because you can connect a keyboard and mouse to your console. You can play it via xCloud on your console.
I might have to try that out when I'm all set up in my studio.
100%.
Maybe do a pass or play on it, because I don't really typically play too many of these types of games. The last one I played like this was
like Archie
Civilization.
Yeah, like Archie said, they just take up so much of your life.
Yes,
like one game mode can last forever.
That's what I was like with Civilization. I never played a Civilization game before. I can't remember what one it was. It might have been Civilization 4 I played, and that game it sucked me in.
Oh god, I think the thing with Civs though is Civ was always like it was mainly just to me it seemed like a paid down version of what Age of Empires gives you. Obviously in Age of Empires you've got
the adrenaline rush isn't there. When you have you spend like an hour or 90 minutes to set up an amazing base, or you think it is amazing with all defenses, and you have amazing units, and then your enemy simply comes crushing in from three sides, and you get that adrenaline rush. And that's something you don't get in Civ like that, and that's actually what makes it so addictive. I see in the chat, Mr. Joy in the Dark, shout out to him. Halo Wars 2, great point. Fantastic real-time strategy game on console. I think
insane trailers as well. Like they had some of the best.
Oh yeah, the cutscene quality from Blur, absolutely
just
awesome.
Outside it was them and Gears Tactics for a tactics game as well. Just insane.
Although
quality.
Gears Tactics is turn-based. I loved it. I played the heck out of it when the Series X came out on console. I really enjoyed it, but it is a turn-based strategy game, and I think turn-based is easier to transfer over to console.
Oh, definitely. I think in terms of like you're mentioning, just the sheer quality level of the cutscene sections that they've put into these games, I think that's become prevalent in what they do for these type of strategy kind of games now. So if you have a look at how good Halo Wars 2 was for an RTS, for like a kind of a strategy game with a mini base building, but obviously the campaign itself, the videos and the kind of cutscenes that you had in that were insane. Then again, Gears Tactics, insane cutscenes in that as well. They kind of kept it on par with Gears 5 for cutscene level of quality. And now you're mentioning Age of Empires 4 has got, again, another step up in these real-time trailer moments that kind of appear that is just like the highest quality you've ever seen. I think that seems to be like a trend for Microsoft now with these new games. It seems like they're pushing that to kind of just bring an added level of quality to these games.
Well, listening to Boxenberger talk about Age of Empires has made me want to try it out. And I've never really played a lot of Age of Empires in the past, only a little bit, like when I was younger around a friend's house. Yeah. So this will be my first.
Well, it's definitely approachable for beginners. There are 4 difficulties that you can set in your first playthrough. Let's say it like that. There's a 5th one which is grayed out. So I assume once you have beaten the campaign or something, that will also unlock. But you start out with 4 difficulties. I play on the 3rd level.
Yeah.
So the first is called, I think, story mode or something like that, which I assume is really easy. I haven't tried it out. I started on the 2nd level, but I increased actually the difficulty because I wanted a little bit more of a challenge out of it.
Yeah.
But I really thought the 2nd level is a great beginner's type of difficulty where you have enough time to set everything up. You don't get the same rush you have on the 3rd or 4th difficulty level. So it's very approachable. And like I said, the tutorial is one of the best I've ever played in any game. It is really, really well done. You start out very simple. They tell a little story, and then you simply grow your village into basically an empire throughout the tutorial, and you get really familiar with all the mechanics of the game and all possible strategies that you can consider during the game. They also tell you those. It's not just that they tell you, okay, if you click here, this happens. They also tell you, listen, they tell it like from a king's perspective. There is this king, yeah, and that king decided to hide in the bushes and ambush and then you simply sit in the bushes with your king and ambush an army and stuff like that. And so they not just tell you, okay, pressing button A or B does this. They actually tell you what you can do as a strategy in the game, and that's why I say it's really one of the best tutorials I've played so far. And now we have Forza Erwin here joining us. Good evening.
Good evening, dear gentlemen.
Good evening.
And I haven't been on a podcast with you in like what now, 2 months?
You're not
Whenever
the same
you were on the
person.
show, I wasn't, and the other way around.
Who are you, dude?
I don't know. Awesome that you joined.
Yeah,
Thanks,
eventually fixed the feud between these two, the Dutch and the German. Eventually, friends again.
No, we had our high point of our friendship, and then I thought it's the highest point we can get. So let's avoid each other for a bit. And today the time is ripe to meet up each other, and also to celebrate Shiba, because Shiba is going to the moon, guys.
Woo! Going to the moon.
Let's go.
Yes.
To the moon. To the moon. I invested quite some money, so good profits already. So if you guys are lucky, then 1 year from now I'm hosting this from Hawaii or some other Caribbean country. So no worries, mate. Good times ahead.
Most definitely. How are you being anyway, brother? Have you managed to get any gaming in recently?
No, not so much. Still quite busy at work, and also very tired in the evening after months of crunch. The developers talk about crunch, but we are crunching week in, week out. So I was quite tired. I only get like 1 hour in racing on the Forza Motorsport on the Rivals event last week.
Sorry, I have to interrupt here, Erwin. I've said that before. The only industry where people talk about crunch is the gaming industry. In every other industry, it's called over hours or extra hours or something like that.
Yeah, it's included in my salary as well.
There you
So
go.
I have an all-in contract, so I'm fucked anyway. So I work sometimes till 8 o'clock. I just arrived at home from being 6:30 in the car in the morning. So, but you know, I don't want to complain. It's all about the job that you do, and yeah, you quite like it. But if I have the chance to retire early because of Shiba, then I'm all up for it. I will buy a nice Mercedes as well. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
Racing from Mansion. That's what you're changing name to.
Racing from Mansion.
Yeah.
Racing from Hawaii.
And maybe I build our own racetrack. Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, awesome stuff!
Yeah.
Yes, of course. We will get in. We'll finish the show on just a summary of the gaming news and weekly roundup. But we'll get into our main thoughts on Halo Infinite's nice, shiny new campaign overview trailer. And, of course, then you had that little snippet. I think that Erwin even more hyped for, which was the Banished trailer, which was absolutely awesome. Of course, that just gives a little bit more hindsight and kind of overview into the enemy and the main overarching, at least what we think is the main villain. Of course, it could just be a ruse. It could just be a semi-main villain behind the biggest of all. Which, and I really can't wait to see it. Before we get into our thoughts, though, I have combined the trailers together for everybody to watch. It will be obviously awesome. Just to kind of give everyone a refresher before we dig into it and talk about our thoughts. So everybody sit back, relax, and enjoy the trailer.
Cool.
Since the beginning, Halo was about Master Chief and Cortana, partners protecting humanity. But that is now a distant memory. Humanity is fighting for survival. The Banished have risen, defeated our heroes, and taken control of the mysterious Zeta Halo. We need a savior. We need hope. We need Spartan 117, Master Chief.
Oh, the main batteries are shut down. We're stuck out here. You have one bullet against an entire army. What can you do on your own?
I told you. It's enough.
So I see.
I need you to understand. There's not much time. If you knew how you were going to die, how would you live your life differently? How would you live your life differently?
What happened? Where is Cortana?
The rogue AI known as Cortana is gone. She's been deleted.
How? By you?
Of course not. Did you hit your head or something? Don't you remember? My instructions were to enter this installation, imitate Cortana, and lock her down for retrieval. Yours were to take her back to the Infinity for deletion. So if it wasn't you... then... there's something else. On successful deployment, my deletion routine was supposed to complete. Still here.
Good.
Good.
Something stopped your deletion. We need to find out why.
But this wasn't the mission.
The missions changed. They always do.
Are you sure?
We have a new mission, soldier.
What is it? What's down there?
A weapon.
A weapon? How many guns do you need?
In the biggest campaign to date, Halo Infinite invites players to become Master Chief and discover true Spartan freedom in the most wide-open and adventure-filled Halo experience yet. But Chief won't be alone on the journey. His first mission is to retrieve a new AI, codenamed the Weapon. It's been 6 months! Where have you been? Following the events of Halo 5, Master Chief is searching for the answer to a troubling question. What happened to Cortana? I was created to lock down Cortana, but I don't know why. What did she do that was so wrong?
received. Stand by.
The answer is somewhere on Zeta Halo. A damaged world full of wonder, mystery, and danger. And at every turn, the Banished are hunting Master Chief and the remnants of the UNSC.
Victory is already ours. We will meet on the battlefield.
The Banished army is spread across the surface, building fearsome strongholds and outposts with no one to stop them. Until now. From the beginning of the Halo saga, Master Chief has been a hero, ready to fight and win against impossible odds.
Chief, is that you?
You're safe now. Incoming.
But what if it's a friend?
It isn't.
Players now have more freedom than ever before to take down the Banished any way they choose.
Banished facility up ahead, Chief. Some kind of salvage operation. What do we do?
Shut it down. Permanently.
What do we have here?
Fight me!
Do you see that? Could be useful. If you like that kind of thing.
Oh, I like it.
Halo Infinite allows us all to become Master Chief, doing what Spartans do best, defying the odds to take down the Banished. Piece by piece. This won't be an easy fight. Master Chief will take on returning favorites and surprising new threats, like the agile Skimmers, a sadistic Spartan killer named Jaga Erdomnai.
Say goodbye.
Look out, Chief. He looks...
Angry.
And something even more threatening.
The Forerunner's lies are at an end. I am the harbinger of the truth. You are not the future.
Exploring this vast and fractured world will put Spartan 117 to the ultimate test. But where there is courage, there is hope. Welcome to the new era of Halo.
Is everyone trying to kill you?
It kind of seems like it.
Almost there.
There we go. So, the awesome trailer has now kick-started this awesome discussion on the campaign overview, and I am really looking forward to digging into this a little bit with these fine gentlemen here. A nice reminder
so
there
ready for Halo.
of exactly what we'd seen. Of course, I coupled that with the other mini campaign trailer that kind of stretches a little bit of a conversation out between the weapon and Chief as well. So it was a little bit of a longer trailer, but I spliced the two together to make that awesome kind of montage there. but we also have... Ooh, what's going on here? So we've got audio, but the video is frozen a little bit, so let's start this again.
Hope makes you weak.
Oh, there we go. Now it's sorted itself out. Brilliant. The video went all weird and frozen. But we still had audio, but let's continue. Yes. So, first of all, before we have a look at the little trailer as well for the Banished, first thoughts I want to get... Archimedes, brother. What, after seeing the new trailer, the new campaign overview, what were your first impressions? Let us say, what's your first impressions of the overview that we see?
Okay, how much time do I got? 1 hour. I have so many thoughts after seeing this. I mean, let's talk about the graphics first, to get that out of the way. Obviously, there has been a significant improvement over what we have seen last year from the initial showing. I mean, they upgraded the game in every aspect. If you look at the texture quality, significantly more detailed. If you look at the lighting system, completely revamped. Yeah, they have implemented that dynamic global illumination now, where you can actually really see how objects cast shadows on themselves. I think I said it yesterday on Boom's show, or was it on Monday on another podcast? I hard to tell. I'm doing too many podcasts, but the thing is, if you want to judge the quality of a lighting mechanism in a game, one thing to look out for is always if an object can cast a shadow on itself. Like, for instance, if you look at the Master Chief and its armor, can the armor itself cast shadow on the armor? And yes, it can now. And obviously, there's no point in the game where you will be sitting there in the middle of a fight and saying, "Whoa, look at that shadow cast." The thing about these things is they are subtle, and they just give you the impression of a more realistic look of a game or a world or whatever. And they definitely nailed that. They changed that lighting system. You can also tell that they have implemented volumetric lighting now. So when light shines through fog, for instance, in a couple of scenes, you see that. So good. They really changed a lot there. Then they also changed a lot in the explosions and particle effect area. Looks much better now. The animations look smoother. So yeah, I'm really happy about the delay, because you obviously can tell that they that they really used the time they had and absolutely improved the visual quality. It looks really good now. So that being said, the gameplay is what we all come to Halo for, and we are not coming there to see great graphics, which we have, but the gameplay is what is awesome about Halo. And we know from the multiplayer that they nail the pacing of the combat, that moment-to-moment combat, the movement feels good. We all know that already because we have played the game, literally here, all on the panel. We played together in one group, and it was awesome. Yes, it was such a great time. So we know that the feeling of the weapons, that they pack a punch, that it feels good, the movement feels good. Okay, check. And now we see that open world, semi-open world sandbox and the crazy stuff we can do. I mean, we have all seen the trailer now. There's this one scene where the Master Chief jumps off a cliff or something, shoots with a rocket launcher a bungee and grapples to another bungee just to capture this one and stuff like that. Yeah, you jump out of a bungee above a base, and then you just go crazy on the grunts and everything. That is so freaking awesome. There's so much you can do in terms of customization now. I love that. It gives the game a little bit more depth when I can customize the Master Chief in the way that I like to play the game. And now shout out to Pong, who is also in the chat here. He said it yesterday on Boom's show. if the game would now have loot, it will be actually kind of an RPG and have the whole package. Yeah, that's awesome. But the crazy sandbox is just what I wanted. It is open, an open aerial, and there is a certain mission. I can go to that, and while I go to that mission, or fly to that mission, or drive to that mission, or it's up to me how to get there. I see a certain base that I can either capture, just drive by, or do something crazy with it. And that's Halo. That's awesome. That adds so much to that classic formula. And I've already seen people out there saying, well, that's not Halo anymore. And well, I prefer the more linear experience. And I have zero doubt that the actual main mission design will be more or less linear. Yeah, you probably go into a Forerunner base or whatever, and then you have your linear mission, but then you come out into that giant open world where you just can go crazy in it. And I love that they did that, because if they would have kept the same formula like in the first games, people would also complain about, well, it's just another Halo game. Yeah, it's really hard if you have a franchise that runs 20 years to innovate on it, to add something new to it, while still maintaining what made the franchise so great. And I do have the feeling, I really do have the feeling that they nail it with Halo Infinite. On multiple levels, we know that the gunplay feels just as good as it ever did. Yeah, I mean, that's what the first Halo did so well. It was the first proper shooter on a console. We have had shooters on consoles before. Yes, GoldenEye comes to mind, or Perfect Dark and stuff like that. Yes, we had that prior to it. But those games, as awesome as they were not from the gameplay mechanics here, they were not on the same level like a shooter on PC. At the same time, we had games like Unreal on PC, and that's just difference. But Halo had that awesome gunplay on a console for the first time. And having played the multiplayer beta, I can tell they really kept that awesome gunplay feeling while still improving it to modern day standards. Yeah, we have aiming down sights, we have sprint, we have all that, but it just feels like Halo. So check on the gameplay side, check on the art style. Yeah, that game really looks like the original Halo, just in modern day graphics. Check. Yeah, then we have story. The original Halo had actually, with the flood and everything, a kind of a dark feeling to it. Yeah, there was, I don't want to say horror, but I can't think of a better word right now. It's not horror, but it's these, when you're in the corridor and you hear the flood coming and these creepy moments. Yeah, they had that. And seeing the Banished trailer from yesterday, I feel it, that this is going in the same direction. Yeah, it's not just colorful, bright enemies. It's also these dark and creepy enemies that are meant to scare the Master Chief and you as the player. So they also have that, but they also have these innovations with the open world and the sandbox that you can just go crazy in. I love it. It's exactly what the franchise needed. It's gonna be a blast to play. I have zero doubt. And one last thing before I hand it off to General C or Forza Erwin. Think about the release date. How awesome is that release date? 8th of December. It's the last game that comes out before February.
Yep, it's got a month all to itself.
Yes, almost 2 months. There will literally be no other release. It will be the game that we all play through the Christmas break, the New Year's break, well into January. The lobbies will be full. People will play that online. And you have that giant campaign for yourself to play and just explore that open world. They said in one of their blogs that the average playthrough will be something in between 20 to 25 hours, something in that region.
Nice.
So that's,
I'm guessing that's
really
is that without doing everything?
I can't recall. I would have to look it up again. I don't know. I that's how I remembered it. Let's say it, put it that way, but don't quote me on that. The thing is,
said in an article.
The thing is, what my point actually is, we have other shooters coming out this fall. Yeah, we have Call of Duty, we have Battlefield. Battlefield doesn't even launch with a campaign, and we all know we finished the Call of Duty campaign in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
So there is no other shooter out there that is that complete package, and I can't think of a shooter that delivered such a full package like Halo does.
Even in a tech test, it delivered.
Yes, but think about the shooters that came out over the last 2 or 3 years. What shooter had a massive campaign with open world, customization and everything, story-driven, narrative-focused, and a complete multiplayer set, 23 multiplayer maps on launch day? What other shooter does deliver such a full package? I can't think of one. So Halo has enough content to keep us busy over Christmas, well into January, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah. And the multiplayer half of it is free.
Yep.
But it doesn't release with co-op, so it should be delayed.
Now we have to have the timeout card again.
You know what it is though? The one thing I do like about Halo as well for me, and you mentioned obviously the open worlds, and I think that really it suits a Halo universe. You've got to think about it this way: it is an alien planet that they envisioned exploring in the first game, Halo CE, which was why they had a semi-open world for it. And at the time, it was unlike anything anybody had seen. Being able to drive around this map and fly around the map and go and explore a little bit and take different routes and things like that. And this version is what as they mentioned previously, is what they envisioned originally. It being having this open world, being able to explore a Halo ring, see what else is there, not just go down your paths, but of course in a real kind of scenario, if you haven't looked at a Halo universe, being attacked by or invaded by an opposing force, you're not just going to go down one singular route every time. Like, there's going to be installations there's going to be bases, there's going to be like real-time events and things happening. Something's going to be kicking off at other locations that you can now go and explore and interrupt. So there could be, like we're seeing in the trailer, these Marines that have been attacked by others and they're in a firefight, and you interrupt it and go and save them and then launch them off a clip into their deaths. But you go and save them. And it's things like that that really, to me, stands out as what Halo was always meant to be and is now only being envisioned because of where we are now with technology. So I'm really intrigued.
I mean, you can even see that in Halo Combat Evolved, that second mission when you land on the ring for the first time. That there screams like they was trying to do what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That
they don't have the
firefight on the
tools back
beach.
then.
I think we all had that feeling when we stepped out on the Halo ring for the first time. Oh, this is a giant open world or a giant sandbox. But obviously they had limitations, and the world design was just so good that you had the feeling that it's open when it was actually very linear. Yeah? But I completely agree here with General C. That's exactly what they probably envisioned back in the days 20 years ago. Yeah.
I think a good term for this Halo would be combat re-evolved.
Yes. Yes, re-evolved, reimagined. General, but yes, let's dive straight into, obviously you're speaking right this second, so let's dive into your thoughts. I know you've been as soon as you've seen that trailer, you were so hyped, and you've watched it
I was
probably
hyped.
a dozen times since then. So
yes.
Let's dive into your thoughts. What were your immediate thoughts after seeing that trailer and having then sat on it for a little bit? What do you think now?
I mean, instantly you could see the upgrades from the year delay. You could see that faces had textures. Some of the brutes even have beards and mohawks now, which is really cool. And the world for a Halo game seems more alive than ever.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
It's just crazy. Like, The one elite, I think it's called Jaeger, the one that's hunting Spartans.
Yes.
There's a moment in the Spider-Man PS4 game where you have a few missions to do. I don't know if you've played the Spider-Man game, but you have to fight Taskmaster, and then there's another mission where you have to fight Taskmaster, and each mission leads up to your main fight with Taskmaster. And I kind of feel like they're doing that with Halo, with this character, but it's going to feel more random. Like this character is going to show up at random points and attack you.
Yeah, just literally try to hunt you down throughout the game.
And that only in Battlefield moment where 343 is like, nah, not only in Battlefield no more.
Yeah, I think some people picked up as well on that. There was a section in the video and I missed it, but then I seen it when I watched it back, where Locke's helmet is actually is being worn by somebody else. Did anybody spot that? Like Locke, so something's happened to Locke, or somebody's got Locke's helmet.
I didn't spot that in the trailer, but I have seen that on one of the Halo Infinite figures, and it kind of makes me think. I don't want to say it because it might be a spoiler, but yeah, I think that might have just happened.
Or something's happened to him, or he is somewhere. He lost his helmet, and obviously this person's kind of wearing it around as a trophy, or he's had a fight with him, and you never know. It's obviously a big story plot, because obviously why would it be there? And they wouldn't include it if Locke wasn't there in some capacity.
The next time we see Locke, he might not be the full Spartan he once was. He could be missing limbs. Could have robot limbs.
Could be converted by the flood.
Well, but that maybe also aligns with the trailer that we had, right? With Atriox mentioning all those stuff, what you can do with a body or with how do you say it? With somebody like Master Chief, right? You can torn apart a body, you can crush a suit to make it a tomb, or what was it? What he said.
Yeah,
so maybe there is some correlation.
I'm going to play the trailer in a minute as well, so people can see what we're talking about. But yeah, it's Hyperius. Yeah. Okay, the brute's name is Hyperius, the one that was wearing Locke's helmet.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll play the trailer. The trailer's only a minute long, so we'll play that trailer and then we'll continue the discussion. So let's get into it. Woo!
Hope. It makes you weak. Humanity clings to the belief that a savior will come, that a hero will rise, shrouded in armor to save you. It won't. Armor can be broken, bodies shattered. When you look back on these last days, you will realize that all you've built was a tomb. A place where hope dies.
Play it day one with Gamepass.
There we go. And that was the Banished trailer. The Banished Rise. So yes, what a trailer. That is how you do a lead up to launch trailer. That campaign overview followed by these. And I think we're going to get a few more of these little introduction kind of trailers for some of the other enemies, and maybe even the Harbinger. But yeah, that is absolutely awesome. Erwin, to follow on from that, because that one was really got you hyped. What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on both that and the campaign overview?
Yeah, really, it's really great. And only the voice that is doing the voice acting, man. That is so cool. It makes me so hyped. It's actually more. It makes me actually more hyped than the gameplay review. Let's say. Of course, that was really great. But when he kicks off with hopes is your weakness or whatever he says, right? It's so damn good, and it looks also so much an improvement of the last year what we saw of him, right? And of course this is a CGI trailer, but it's so much more detailed. It makes me incredibly hyped, and I watched the trailer like now I think like 20 times, and every time when I hear it I get so pumped because there's probably so much story and emotion behind it, or at least what we hope. When the video was on, we were discussing what we saw in Halo 5 trailers we didn't see in the game, right?
You see the bit that I liked with this guy as well, on the original campaign trailer they showed, obviously graphically it wasn't great, but when they introduced this guy, and then the last part, he was like, "Bare your fangs."
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yes!"
Wow,
Who is this guy? I want to fight him.
You want to fight him, but you're also scared, right?
Yeah.
Because he is so mega impressive, and this will be one hell of a battle if it comes to a battle. But when he talks like that, and also the part with "Oh, you have built," and then you see the stuff coming out of his mouth, it's all full of power, he's really a fucking badass, and that makes me so super excited. So that trailer alone was for me personally even more impressive from all the gameplay that we saw. The gameplay review trailer was just an how do you say it? It just give me some peace of mind to see that they used the year that they had extra. They used it really well. So with the multiplayer, and we said it when we were on the party, if the multiplayer is looking only like this, then we will already be very, very happy. And that is just a closed section or a zone of a part of the game, let's say, the multiplayer part, and the single player is just this open world game, but it looks the same or even more beautiful, right? You have a day and night circle as well, which is I think impressive, which can also create maybe in different kind of enemies or whatnot. So and I think Archie mentioned I think a lot of stuff that has been improved or that he's looking forward to. Also, upgrading your abilities, right? That you saw in that little menu. There's actually quite a lot. And it's maybe also to fight different characters. You can choose different abilities on the fly, and that's really cool. We never saw that, but really the game from moment one, even when it looked like dog shit last year, I get the Halo 1 feeling somehow, and I don't know why, but they also say it themselves, right? It's a spiritual successor of Halo CE, and that semi-open world that it was, the Halo CE, that's perfectly translated towards this game, I think, because this is really open and you can all do crazy stuff, and you can, with your slingshot, you can drop out of an airplane towards the other Banshee, right, and take that guy out and throw him out and blow it up and all those kind of crazy stuff. Combined with good graphics, nice enemies to fight for, and even if it's 15 hours long or whatever, if the story is damn good, then I'm all up for it. And Battlefield is not even releasing a single player, only the multiplayer part. So I think we are very lucky, and hopefully we get a feeling that we are getting spoiled when it's released, when it's so good, let's say, that we are spoiled, that they do so their best. And the multiplayer was already so impressive, gave us already so much fun, and this is just it looks almost to be the perfect package, and I hope it really will be. And also the team deserve, because they worked under a lot of stress and probably the crunch as well that we talked about, but also about all the negative feedback that they got from everybody. And if they will release it and if it's a success, then it's also a massive Microsoft or Xbox Game Studios success, because a lot of teams helped them as well, right? To be it the game that it is now. And the improvement is massively, so that makes me really feeling great. And I hope we get more of those trailers that we had from Atriox. It's so damn cool, man. And after the show, I'm gonna watch it 2 times again.
Too right. It's what it is. Go on, Jen.
And that Banished trailer, that really settled my worries for the story. I am ready for the story, and I think this is gonna make up for what we got with Halo 5. It's It looks so good.
Well,
Yeah.
I was blown away by that.
It really, really does. I mean, the one thing that stood out to me, and again, obviously we can look at the graphics. Obviously, it wasn't that the graphics needed work; it was the texture and the level of detail in some of the things, as we've seen.
Lighting.
What they've showed, the lighting as well is vastly improved, and that's without the ray tracing, which is coming, which is going to just affect it tenfold. Like, it's going to look insane once that's in. But with their real-time global illumination involved anyway right now, and the way that they're kind of handling that, it already looks really impressive, and it's like so much better than it did previously, for what we've seen previously. But yeah, it's, to me, obviously the level of detail they put into the armor now, it looks far more battle worn. It doesn't look like he's just come out the factory like it did in the first one, where they just found him and he's like shiny new. He's like, woohoo, I'm new chief. I'm good to go. Now it looks like he's been through a good fight. He's like he was in the Infinity when it blew up, and you can see there were scratches and dints and things on him, and the weapons, of course, we see that in the multiplayer, but the weapons are far more detailed than they were. The world looks far more detailed, like you mentioned. The lighting,
trees, popping. Let's say popping also, because you can see
More
so
mountains.
far in the distance, and you don't almost see nothing popping at all. And for an open world game where you can fly and etc., I think that's important, because it's very distracting as well if it has a lot of popping. So probably the engine that they were, let's say, pounding their chest on in the first place when they review it, it's probably now getting up to the level that they first had in mind, right? Because the first trailers that we saw from that slip space engine was super impressive. It actually looks more now how it was originally shown, right? Those trailers. And when we saw the gameplay last year, it was not aligned with what we saw before. And now the images and the gameplay, let's say, and how the graphics, let's say, are being built up, that more aligns with the first trailer that we saw prior at the E3 or 2 or 3 years ago. And I think that's on itself is a massive improvement. And also, did you notice somebody made a video about Halo Infinite, and I saw some images or some small gameplay from Halo 5. It's single player, and when you then see the different kind of enemies and stuff like that, you're like, blech, you know. When you see now the Halo Infinite gameplay with all the characters and stuff like that, it's really back to Halo, you know. It's really the giving the old school feelings. And although I like the Halo 5 single player quite a bit, surprisingly enough, but if I look back now and compare it to also the enemies that you had back then, man, this is going to be a massive improvement.
Yep, Halo 5, I say this a few times, I've made a few videos in the past, Halo 5 is the greatest Halo spin-off that never truly existed.
Yeah, you probably got a point there. But I mean, what are your thoughts then? Let's have a look. Think, obviously, we mentioned about the upgrade system. So obviously, with that in mind, Archie, obviously looking into the upgrade system there, my thoughts on it right now is obviously not just the fact that you can upgrade, but obviously giving the impression there that you're going to feel much more of a badass Master Chief now as well. Like, if you think going into things like Legendary mode, Master Chief just pales in comparison to your enemies in times, because like a lot of these abilities and things, you just end up feeling like you're just getting owned 24/7. I think with an upgrade mode, you're gonna feel more like Master Chief's not only just getting stronger as time goes on, but he's becoming this war machine that people fear him to be. How do you feel about the upgrade system?
I love it because it will allow me to customize my play style. If, for instance, I use a lot of the dash function during battle, I can optimize that. Or if I become Spider-Man and the master of the grappling hook, I can optimize that. It allows me to customize my character towards my play style, and that is fantastic in a crazy sandbox, where everyone here will do different crazy things in that world. Some will play the game more stealthy, other will play it like the Hulk. That and we can then allow us. The game allows us then to just take advantage of our personal preferences, and that's fantastic. I think that's exactly what modern day shooter in a semi-open world needs. I think an open world game would be kind of empty if you don't have a certain progression system in it. I'm trying to think of an open world or semi-open world game right now that didn't have any sort of progression system. From the top of my head, I can think of one. So yeah, it's a great addition. For me, what is going to be interesting is, do we or will we have to, let's say, kind of grind in the main to be able to progress in the main story?
That's a good point, actually. We don't know how really it works yet, do we?
Yeah, we don't know how do side missions work. Yeah, we know they are there, but how do they work? Will they give us a certain reward? We also have heard before the rumors about Halo Infinite having kind of Metroidvania elements. So is that how it works? Yeah, that you have to do a certain mission to get, I don't know, the grappling hook, and with that grappling hook you can then progress further on the Zeta Halo ring. I don't know if that is how it's going to work, but the potential is definitely there. We have seen, like Erwin said, we have seen the menu and the ton of options in it. So that's really cool.
I think you might actually start with a grappling hook, because if you pay attention to like the part where he's in space, you actually see the grappling wrist, the grappling shot is on his wrist.
Yeah,
but it's like sort of untethered. It's not all the way into like the grapple shot. Sort of like it's floating.
Okay. So you probably will start with that, but you know what I mean. I just used it as an example.
It could be as well that you start with potentially like a lower version of the grapple that only allows you to grab things, but not pull yourself up to certain locations or something. Like it gradually becomes this extremely powerful tool.
For instance, maybe you will find. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not saying it will be there. It's just the thing that has been floating around through the community, that there might be Metroidvania elements in it. I'm not saying it's going to be Metroidvania, but it actually would make sense. Yeah, with that they can open up the world or the Halo ring more and more. I still think eventually we will leave the Halo ring at some point in the game. Probably we go into a spaceship and then go somewhere else. There's so much potential there. Also, if you think about their 10-year plan for Halo Infinite, how is that going to be turning out? We talked about that a little bit prior to the show in the green room. I mean, they have that 10-year plan. I've said it before. I don't think it's that they will simply add DLC to that Halo Infinite game. I think we will get a Halo Infinite 2 or whatever it will be called. It will have a different name. Kind of like the Destiny approach, where they also said when Destiny launched, we have a 10-year plan, but after a couple of years, the game just got a Destiny 2, and now they're building upon that. But certain things like your Guardian carried over to Destiny 2, and there were a lot of missions and world pieces you can still visit. Some of the worlds from Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, stuff like that. And I think this might be kind of like the similar thing, that in a couple of years we get another Halo Infinite in like 4 or 5 years, Halo Infinite 2 or whatever it will be called. And then they will build upon that. But having a sort of progression system in the game definitely helps you for the longevity of a game, because you can add certain new levels to it with the next DLC that will come out in a year or two. You can increase, give new mechanics and stuff like that. That actually makes sense. They can broaden the Halo ring, the universe. You can leave it to add different Halo rings to the universe and so on. But that wouldn't be possible if you do, or not as easily possible if you wouldn't have any sort of progression system. So I think it fits in the big picture of the entire thing.
Yeah, that's another one. Obviously, a kind of not follow-on topic. It's a merger topic as well regarding the future of Halo. But Erwin, is there anything specific as well that you take away from that Halo that gets you hyped? The campaign, specifically from what you've seen, the gameplay, the way it looks, the way everything kind of progresses. What else kind of stood out to you?
Well, the Far Cry lookalike, let's say, mission settings. So a lot of people some people are complaining about that.
Yeah.
But you know which feeling I also got, strangely enough, with that? Some Crackdown 3. Because in the single player, you also go to a part of a plant, a power plant or whatever, and then you go there and you see tons of people. You blow up some buildings as well. And I know that Joseph Statham also worked on Crackdown 3. He was also the guy who was overseeing it, right?
Yeah.
And somehow with that mission that he says, okay, let's blow it up, with the rockets, and that those 3 pillars blew up. That really gave me Crackdown 3 vibes, and probably a lot of people don't like it, but actually I like the single player of Crackdown 3.
Yeah, it was a lot of
fun. Let's not compare it. But I really like, and that every Halo had that you have that really outside battles and missions what you do, but also really inside. And then there's a completely different setting, different colors. You saw that enemy with his fire throttle. He jumped in the air, and then you saw all the fire, which also give you a really nice lighting. And also that door that was thrown out, and then you see Master Chief standing over there in third person, you see it, and then you move into that character to fight him off, right? To shoot his face and then fight him off. If they make such scenes that they first, let's say, outside view it, and then you go back into that character, man, that's freaking great. And that's they do so many things right, it seems now.
Yeah.
And gameplay wise, we knew already it was great, because even if it looks like shit last time or last year, we saw that the gameplay was fluid, the gameplay was fun, it was fast. It was the guns didn't look okay, but the guns were, let's say, looked like they had a heavy feel to it. So what we experienced, by the way, multiplayer now as well, but. Yeah. There wasn't really any negative to see for me, to be fair, in the gameplay part. And normally I'm pretty critical about a lot of things, and now they make it shine. They polished it. It looks great. Also, that other person that drives the ships, that the Mexican guy or the Spanish guy, I don't know where he's originally coming from, but he looks also better. And the girl weapon, her name is called.
Yes.
Personally, I think that's kind of a weird name, but I still need to get used to her. She looks like she's a little bit cringy at times. That's maybe the only negative part, maybe. But when you are in that ship, that also the nice details, when you go to the clouds, you see at the end of the ships, you see the deformation of the clouds, when it's passing the ship. So those tiny things of detail, that really impresses me. And like I mentioned before, the different kind of settings on Lightning, when you have a time night and day time of difference, let's say, those things are so cool, because that also brings a lot of new dynamic to like any particular game, right? Racing games are also different when they are at night, but also when you have sunset or sunrise, those kind of things like you see in Sea of Thieves. I don't know how many pictures I take when there's a sun setting or sun rising. The atmosphere of that whole world is completely changing. And what I do like with that last trailer of that Atriox guy is, normally Master Chief is our big, badass. He's powerful and he's strong and whatnot. Yeah. But that Atriox makes you feel like tiny. You makes you feel like, man. Okay. No, sorry. Okay. Fine. Yes. Okay. Cheers. Bye.
We've not had an interesting brute character like this guy since obviously Halo Wars, and even before then, Tartarus from Halo 2.
Yes.
And this guy just, I don't know what it is, but it seems so well written.
Yeah.
And he seems so intimidating.
Yes, that's the correct word. And he makes you feel small, right? Like, because he can crush a helmet.
Yeah.
That helmet...
it makes me feel like playing as the Master Chief.
Yes.
There's going to be
Lego edition.
Some
the Lego
crazy
edition, right?
ass battles there with that guy.
Yeah. So so I don't have really something to complain about or to have some negative feedback about the single player. I'm just really impressed from what they've shown, and 8 December cannot come quick enough. And the only thing what I'm missing, and that's maybe a different kind of topic, but I'm really missing the limited editions, for the game. With Halo 3, I have the helmet over here in my where is it? Over here in my closet.
I mean, you never
helmet.
know on the and this is obviously coming up for November 15th. Of course, they've got the live show on the 20th anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
They could announce a limited edition version of the game then.
20th anniversary edition.
Awesome, yeah, because obviously they're starting to ramp up the campaign stuff now, and we've seen that with a couple of trailers. And I expect to see, like I mentioned before, more short campaign tease trailers, which I'm really excited to look forward to now, because it gives you kind of a glimpse into these different characters now, and it's so intriguing. But hopefully for you and for other collectors, November 15th will announce. Here you go. Obviously, we've got the console, we've got the controller, but here's like a limited edition game you can buy.
Yes,
I'm gonna be like, damn, more money to come out of my wallet.
Yeah, but Shiba's going to the moon, so I don't care anyway. So,
you can pay for mine then.
Right, we are talking to a rich person here now.
It's going, but it's now at 70 at the moment. I saw it's going like crazy, so I'm getting huge profit at the moment. But that's just a joke. But such things as a collect, and also that Forza Horizon 5 is missing that. Last weekend I pre-ordered then the early access to the game and all the DLC and that version, right?
Yeah.
The Ultimate Edition, or what is it? The DLC. But I was waiting for something to release, like small cars, or like with Halo launching something. So fingers crossed it will. But it seems that they are going more and more away from such things and going more and more digital. And of course, that's what we see coming, and that's what's happening for multiple of years. But for, let's say, collectors, and there are quite a lot, I think, to do something special, especially when this is your flagship title, that will be sick if they can do it. And I have also a request for the chat, and that's mainly for the people that are coming from the US that are drinking those Rockstar bottles, where you can get the code. Was it Rockstar? Yes, right? Because those codes or those drinks are not available, those particular, let's say, drinks that have the Halo code connected to them are not available in the EU and the UK and etc.
I think they are available in the UK.
Okay, but I will...
I've seen some people tweet it, but
really?
I can't find them for love nor money. Every time I've gone into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, Rockstar is sold out, and then it has a little notice saying, "Oh, we'll be back in stock on this day." And I'm
know why?
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Hello,
scalpers are going to buy that, aren't they? They're going to be on eBay.
Yeah. So what I want to ask, if some people in the chat are from the US, then it's maybe easier available. Please share the codes to us, because we want those limited edition guns, skins, and whatever skins that you have for your character. Please share those codes if you don't use it, because we are very thankful if you want to do that, because we cannot get it over here.
I'm out shopping tomorrow, so I'm going to see if I can get some. If I can get a whole bunch of them, I'll send you some extra codes.
Thanks. Yeah, good stuff.
I mean, on the mention there, before we get back into the game bit itself, on limited edition stuff, from what I've seen so far, they seem to be partnering with a lot of external people to make limited stuff. So, of course, we've seen the controllers, and obviously Hyperkin doing the Cortana Duke. But you've also seen Nerf with the Needler gun. If you haven't already seen that Needler gun does actually look awesome, and it's got obviously all the LEDs and things on it. But then you've seen them partner with Razer for peripherals for the PC. So I think it depends on, are they going to do limited edition as a box set, which people would love, or are they just going to do these limited items that they sell through third parties, where you can only get the Nerf for a so limited amount of time and only get this controller for a limited amount of time? So fingers crossed they do a limited edition, because like you mentioned, you've got the Chief helmet, and it would be awesome to have something like a statue, like a lot of these big flagship titles get, where you've got and I keep forgetting his name, that the bad guy we see in the trailer, Escharum. If you had him and Chief on a big statue or something, like going in just about to punch each other or something, just something wild like that they need to partner up for, that would be amazing, and I'd probably look to invest in that.
I mean, even a 20th anniversary edition with Master Chief in all of his different armors over the year would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. But General Chief, what are your additional thoughts there before we dig into the future of what we expect for Halo? Any additional thoughts you've got on what you saw so far?
The thing that appealed to me the most, and that's because I was big into Destiny when Destiny 1 was first out, is the mini bosses, like with the health bars. Those things look like they're going to be a big part of the game. And there's a whole section on the sort of like menu screen where you got the map and all that on. There's a target section. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like a lot of these guys, and I'm wondering if they're even going to add more of these targets after the game comes out.
Yeah.
Like maybe every couple of weeks add a new target.
Judging from what I've seen as well, it looks like these are going to be, and I think a few people have kind of mentioned this, but it looks like it's going to be individual forts and areas and things that you take over will have these sub-bosses that you go and fight, and these sub-bosses obviously have these health bars and are a little bit more powerful than any others. Like mini-bosses you'll find around the world.
Yeah.
And you've seen kind of some of them as well, because obviously you've seen that guy jump out of the ship and kind of jump down to fight before you hit him with a hammer, of course. But he jumped out the ship and he had some funky armor on, but he also had a marine weapon. He didn't have
a rocket
weapon.
launcher, right?
Yeah, he had a twin shotgun or rocket launcher or whatever it was. It was a marine weapon.
I think it was a rocket launcher, but he was holding it like up against his hip, and that looked really cool. The animation looked really cool.
One-handed.
But like the outposts as well, they look really interesting. And I'm hoping that as it's like an open world game, I'm hoping they make it feel alive, and I'm hoping they make it so that the banished forces can take back these outposts.
Yeah.
So it's like something that you're always coming back to do, and each time you approach those outposts, they're slightly different every time the Banished is taking it back.
Yeah. Well, 100%. 100%. Before we continue, I want to give a massive shout out to more than 50 people who are tuning in tonight. That's absolutely awesome to see everybody here. Some new faces, some familiar faces. Massive shout out to everybody in chat. It's awesome. And some of the hype as well for Halo across there, and what people want to see in Pong as well, saying I hope this game does amazing so that we can get a Halo Wars 3. I think a lot of people would love a Halo Wars 3.
ODST 2.
An ODST 2, yeah. You never know, they could implement some kind of ODST thing into Halo Infinite in their 10-year plan.
But I think they will treat Halo Infinite like a launching point, though. I talked about it in the green room we use. Like how Master Chief Collection is a launching point for every single Halo game, obviously apart from Halo Wars 1 and 2. I think they're going to treat Infinite like that. So maybe we'll get the spin-offs through that Halo Infinite sort of hub.
Yeah, definitely. What I want to get into next is, again, our thoughts on the future of this. Of course, we've touched on it with several of our comments here, but Archie, the future of the Halo Infinite campaign, you mentioned specifically there as well what you think it could end up being, in a bit more of a Destiny approach, where potentially, like, let's say 3 to 5 years into this 10-year plan, they're probably halfway point, to then bring out the second Halo Infinite. Obviously, it could be called Halo Infinite 2, it could be something else, but potentially then do a revision and say, right, okay, this is now Halo Infinite 2 on the new engine. You bring over some of the elements of Chief or whatever, but what do you think is the future of within this 10-year plan? What do you expect? Would you hope to see?
That's a very good question. We have to answer it separately for single player and multiplayer, because I think we have a pretty good idea what the multiplayer will look like. We know their plans with seasons. I mean, they take a different approach with the seasons, like other shooters, where where these seasons kind of expire once they are over. And bless you.
Sorry, I couldn't read my
Gesundheit.
I always forget that you can also say Gesundheit in English.
Yes.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit.
So they will have these seasons. Like I said, different approach. They don't expire. So even if you buy now, for instance, the season pass for season 1, and in 2 years you pick up the game, you can still play the content of season 1. That's pretty cool. But that's how they will probably continue with the game. There will probably be different kind of multiplayer modes coming in the future. I don't know whether they will do Battle Royale. I hope not. I think it doesn't need it. They better bring back that Warzone mode from Halo 5. That was awesome, where you had like this PvPvE mode. Yeah, that was really cool. Something like that. Yeah, so new multiplayer modes probably will be added, new maps and everything. So I think that plan is pretty clear. It will be interesting to see what they do with the single player part of the game. At some point, it kind of feels like they actually treat the single player and multiplayer now as two different games. Yeah, with the multiplayer being free to play and single player being locked away behind the actual purchase. It's interesting to see what do they do there. Let me. Since I could guess a lot of things what they do, let me tell you what I hope they do. I do hope that they learn kind of from other games that it isn't a good idea to just throw out a couple of fetch quests and stuff like that to increase the longevity of the game. What I love from a single player or a co-op experience like Halo is a start and an ending. Yeah, I want to see the credits roll, and I want to have the feeling, okay, that story is over. There can be a cliffhanger, no doubt, but I want to have a start to end experience. And when they add new content to it, I want also another start to end story. It can be a DLC, it can be whatever, but I want that full experience. Yeah, I do not just want to have a couple of new side missions thrown into the Zeta Halo ring. I don't want that. I want them to properly continue and progress the story with a proper narrated campaign element. Yeah, that can be in the form of a DLC. They don't have to put it out like every 3 months with the seasons in the multiplayer. That's why I say they kind of can treat it as a different game. Yeah. They don't have to add new single player content every 3 months for me. That's not necessary. It's okay for me if they launch, let's say next year or in 2 years, a proper DLC with another campaign. Yeah. That is what I would love to see.
In line with the quality of Hivebusters.
Exactly. Very good point. Kind of like that. Yeah, exactly. Very good comparison. That's what I want. Yeah. And as for the 10-year plan, I mean, Halo Infinite looks great now, but if you think about what happened over the last 10 years, where were we 10 years ago? We were still in the 360 generation.
Yeah.
So I can, and think about how games looked back then and where we are now, where at the point where we are still in that cross-gen phase. Yeah. And Halo Infinite looks great, but you can tell it's a cross-gen game. Yeah. And in like 10 years, when we have seen a Red Dead Redemption 3, and what they will do.
You're being optimistic, aren't you? You're being optimistic. 10 years.
You know what I mean. Yeah. When we have seen these kind of games, the complete we will be in a different generation in 10 years. Yeah, we will be in like the Xbox Series X2 or whatever it will be called. Yeah. So we kind of have to think: would we think that Halo is still modern if it looks and plays like this, what we have now? I know it's kind of hard to think because 10 years is a long time and we are so happy with what we are seeing and getting right now. But in 10 years, things will be different. So I truly hope that they will take at some point I throw out the number of, let's say, 5 year, do a proper new release, next Halo in the next engine, Slipspace Engine 2, that is built from the ground up for this generation, and that the whatever will be on the horizon by then, like RDNA 8 or something, and then so I don't hope that they continue just to build upon that engine and the same mechanics and graphics. I hope that at some point in, like, let's say 5 years or 6 years or whatever, we get a full new experience. So that's what my wish would be for the single player part of the game.
That's fair enough. Erwin, what about yourself? How do you see this 10-year plan going, and what do you want to see from Halo Infinite throughout that time?
Man, that's a huge question, especially for the single player, because for the multiplayer you can do, you can actually make like a battle royale. Yeah. There's a lot of fuss going around with Dr. Disrespect, but he's only saying it's for his own audience and for his own streaming, so it's only self. How do you say it?
Self-applicable.
Yes, exactly right. He doesn't really care, I think, but because his channel is based around battle royale type kind of gameplay that he's doing, and that's fair enough. He's doing quite well on that. I personally would love to see a battle royale, but coming just a couple of years from now, right? Let's make it. Let's get it right, and let's get the Forge mode that they are building. Let that make first. So let them build maybe a couple of years to keep it fresh, the game, maybe like Warzone is to Call of Duty, for example, for the people who like it, because maybe a lot of people don't like it, but if you like it or not, Battle Royale on itself is huge. A lot of people are playing it, a lot of people are liking it, a lot of people then buying outfits and whatnot, so it's also a real economy driver for a particular studio or game. Look at Epic. With Fortnite, so I think that will come, but in the future maybe they give it their own twist, so that is good. But I'm actually hoping for that. And for the single,
I think you've got a good point on that. Before you move on to the single player, I think you've got a really good point. And what I've seen so far from 343 is that, as from the delay last year, what they're not willing to do now is rush something until they know it is how it should be. So we've seen what's happened with the multiplayer. And obviously, when we've got a hold of the multiplayer, it is perfect. Like, I've struggled to go back and play Master Chief Collection because this feels so much better than any previous Halo Online. Like, in every aspect, it feels smoother. The weapons feel better. The sound better. Obviously, it looks so much better. It just plays better. But I think 343 now are not willing to launch something unless it is absolutely what it should be. And that's what we've seen with the fact that they're willing to delay the co-op to make sure it works correctly, even though it is obviously a really big part of the game. They're willing to delay Forge, which is a massive part of the multiplayer community, because they want those features to be as good as they can be for those communities when they do launch. Not just put in there and then spend another 6 months fixing them afterwards. They want to make sure it is right. And I think you're absolutely right there when it comes to a Battle Royale mode. When they do release that, not only will they have their own twist, but I think they want to make sure it is the best form of Battle Royale that could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, so I think we are on the same page, mate. Like many things, so that's cool. But no, you can disagree. That's no trouble. Hello, Double Barrel Gaming.
Mr. Boomstick.
Welcome to the chat, mate. Welcome to the show. Thanks for everybody being in the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe to WandrinDutch. Let's hope on the multiplayer part that they will evolve on that part. And I think there is just so much you can do, let's say, in the shooter. So you need to diversify, and Battle Royale is just one part of it. And for the single player, they will probably make some more planets that you can visit to, like indeed the Hive Busters, for example, that you take an airship and you fly towards it, and then you land on a new planet, and then you can do all kind of new stuff with maybe different enemies, and maybe a different character in the game, maybe some other characters from different parts of the game come back, maybe something like that. There is so much you can do because there are so many books has been written. I didn't read it, I'm not that so invested in Halo, to be honest. I am absolutely looking forward to Halo Infinite. I played a lot of Halo CE. 2 and 3 I didn't play so much, to be honest. I liked Halo 5, so I'm missing a whole big range of the thing. But when you look at books and what you can find about the world in, let's say, that Halo exists, there is so much story that you can tell, I think. That will, let's say, have a basis for the future of Halo Infinite and how they gonna do it, and how they upgrade the visuals. That's just a part of, I think, the natural evolution then. But yeah, it will be very interesting, and I don't have any creative ideas what they can really do, and I don't have really expectations on what they're gonna do, because 10 years is a long time, eh? Look back at what was 10 years back again in 2011, how the world then looked like, and which kind of gameplay that you had, and graphics and whatever, right? There's so much changing in 10 years time that and also, if you want to create a new full game, it also takes almost 4 years if you want to do it right. So if they want to create a Hivebusters, maybe it takes then 3 years. But still, it's 3 years and then another 3 years. So that means that you can maybe have 3 DLC parts based on single player experience or whatever, which is great. But I hope they can maybe elaborate a little bit more about what the future plans will be, and that's maybe something that they will do after 2 years or whatever. But I'm super curious about how the creative ideas can be, and if they're going more for a Destiny route, because Phil Spencer, for example, is absolutely in love with Destiny. He plays it for, I think, thousands of hours. And maybe they are moving into such kind of a direction, slowly but steadily, right? So who knows? It can be nice. And maybe, with Death Stranding, that you have other people in the world building bridges and whatever. Maybe that's something that can be let's say, created in Halo in the future as well. I don't know. I'm just, it's my answer. It's a little bit fluffy, but
I think everyone's answer is relatively fluffy, though. Don't worry about that. It's because no one really knows what they can do, but everyone's also very intrigued on where they can go. General, what about you? What do you want or hope to see then in the future of this franchise? Of course, they've mentioned it is a 10-year plan. I think obviously in chat, Joanna Dark and Archie have got a good point there. 10 years is maybe a little bit too long for specifically campaign on one game. Maybe they kind of focused a 10-year plan around Halo Infinite as a whole.
For spin-offs.
Yeah, spin-offs and etc. But what's your thoughts there on kind of what you want to see?
I think after this Master Chief story with Halo Infinite, we need a long break from the Master Chief story. So I'm going to say do some more spin-offs. And I'd like to see a proper Halo horror game. You're in space.
You mean Flood? Bring the Flood back.
Yeah, like bring the Flood back. It's set in space. You're on a massive ship like the UNSC Infinity, and you're just a generic Marine trying to survive in space at all costs with Flood coming after you, and even throw in a Spartan that's been turned into a Flood enemy, and that thing pursues you throughout the entire game.
That's an interesting spin.
And I'd also like to see an ODST game, not done in first person, third person. Third person perspective would suit an ODST game perfectly. Get the Coalition to make that. Cover system, 4-player co-op. Do I need to say more?
The Lego game. They released the Lego, those images that they
yes,
years ago, right?
Yes.
That would be a sick DLC, right?
There's so much room out there for plenty of Halo spin-offs. There's so many Halo books that they could take one of those books and turn it into a game. A lot of people don't like to read that are gamers.
Yeah.
They'd rather sit there and experience their Halo for a game. So take some of those books and turn them into games.
And inside the initial Halo Infinite, in terms of potential expansions, etc., what route do you want to see them go down there?
I'd say like smaller, maybe Hivebuster size stories with separate characters. I mean, they keep saying the Halo multiplayer character that is your creation is going to have a story of its own. Do something with that.
Yeah.
Let us tell our own story in Halo for once, like Destiny.
Yeah. Or even, you know what I would like to see potentially as well? Maybe it's after the first campaign playthrough with Chief. Potentially unlock the ability to use, instead of using Chief in the campaign, then use your online Chief, which has got your own armor and
your own
things
Spartan.
on, and then use that through the campaign. Potentially like a kind of a new game plus.
Yeah, there's a reason why Halo Infinite is my favorite Halo story. It's because it's your Spartan. You turn that Spartan into the Spartan you want it to look like, with all the armor you unlock. You choose the color of your Spartan, and then you go into the campaign, and it's your story and your journey, and it's more intimate.
Yeah.
And
go on.
Multiplayer wise, I do think there will be a battle royale. Might take them a while to get to it, because I don't want them just to do this rinse and repeat battle royale that we've got with so many other battle royale games, Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone. We need battle royale evolved. Halo battle royale evolved.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome that we've seen, especially, I mean, people are probably getting that idea as well, because obviously in the section that you see on the video, and obviously the thumbnail for this, you see Master Chief flying into the battlefield. But
that screams battle royale to me.
It does, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Just where you can just launch yourself down and you just fly down at the battlefield.
There's one thing that I noticed. I don't know if you've noticed it as well, but like through the broken parts of the Halo ring, you can actually see space and stars.
Yes,
and that's really cool detail.
Yeah. I think I like what Erwin said as well, is the fact that obviously how many, and someone with a little bit more Halo lore knowledge in chat might know this, but from all of the Halo games we've had so far, how many of the Halo rings have we actually been to? Because we've actually, in the Halo array, there's 7 rings. But how many still survive? And how many have we been to so far? Because again, if we think in this game, Halo Infinite is based on Zeta Halo, like Erwin said, potentially get that section where you can go out and you get your Pelican and you fly back out into space, and then potentially go to one of the UNSC big ships, and then go to another one of the rings, and then kind of expands into
like a Mass Effect Halo game.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much possibility, but again, this is the world of Halo, and again, the lore is so great that it could be expanded to such a degree that they do kind of a Mass Effect Halo game. Where there's kind of an overarching story as a whole, but then you've got kind of different areas you need to go to, or different things you need to do, and it's just so much possibility. And that's kind of what's intriguing me about this, and the fact that the kind of open world gives that possibility to people now.
That's what I hate about the Halo books. I've read a few of them, and they were so good, it made me want to experience that story as a game.
Yeah.
It's the same with the Gears of War books. The Gears of War Asphalt Field book makes me want a Gears of War game where it's just humans versus humans, maybe in first person, so it's more appealing to the FPS player. That would be really cool.
They should just hire the authors to write the story for the campaigns.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean they hired. I think it was for Gears of War 3. The woman. I think her name's Karen Travis. She wrote some of the books. She wrote the story for Gears 3.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they need to get more of those people that are writing those novels on board to write really good stories.
Or even as you say, even maybe get them on board to write these offshoot stories that we can experience. So even if you're doing, I hope they don't do too much DLC. What I would probably like to see from a Halo, when we're talking about DLCs, is a big thing about, obviously after launch, I expect them to show or talk about a roadmap for Halo Infinite once, and I'm talking about like maybe January, February, whatever, after people have had a chance to play through the main campaign, etc. Then start talking about the roadmap for going forward. Okay, so this is what we're going to do in this particular 10-year plan. Or this is when you can expect to see the first part of the campaign DLC or whatever it is. But I hope that whatever they do announce, it isn't like once a quarter you get like a little bit. Just once a year. Like if Halo once a year, something substantial, like we mentioned the Hive Busters, it wasn't overly long. It was like you say, it was like 5 hours.
It was the perfect amount of time for something new.
but the story and the
an
quality of the
experiment as
story and the
well.
gameplay and everything that came along with it was perfect. And that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of quality I'd want from it. And I think they'll continue to do. I don't think they'll rush something out, but get these authors to write these DLC segments. Like, okay, you write this story now. You know what's going on. You've got these wild ideas, so you write this story, and we'll put that into a DLC segment going forward. But I also agree with Archie, in as he mentioned in chat there before, that I don't expect them to release DLCs for this story for the full 10 years. I think they'll potentially release maybe 3, maybe 4 at a push story DLCs throughout its time. But I hope it's only over the first, let's say, 3-4 years, and then they focus on what's next for Halo Infinite, as opposed to then just continually just pushing out DLCs for it left, right, and centre. We know the online, there's infinite possibilities for that. Absolutely infinite.
It'd be nice to see like one story DLC each year for like up to 5 years. Then they launch the next major story in the Halo franchise.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. This has been an absolutely awesome chat on Halo Infinite. I was going to go down the weekly news, but I think it's been just enough time to start wrapping things up now. And we've had such a positive kind of evening talking specifically Halo Infinite and what we expect for the future of the franchise. And I think it's just perfect to leave it there as opposed to diverting into something that isn't quite so entertaining.
I would really love to see a Halo horror game. That would be something amazing.
Like I say, the Flood, I just want to see the Flood come back. And I hope, although it hasn't been seen, there is some section of the Zeta Halo ring that is infected with the Flood. We know the Flood is on every ring because it was meant to be some kind of weapon. But I hope...
Yeah, they contained the Flood there.
Yeah. I hope it isn't contained and it does come back in some way. Or maybe it is initially, but further down the line in kind of a story progression or an expansion, the Flood are released, and then it just opens that world up a whole nother level, because then you've got to worry about the Flood when you're walking around the map. But yeah, it's just absolutely awesome. But I want another massive shout out to everybody in chat again this evening. Some awesome to see some new faces. Really great to see a lot of old faces as well. Some really cool hype, for both Halo Infinite and everyone's love and expectations for that game, and just to see everyone so excited. And of course, the chat in here in the community is just awesome as usual. There's never any toxicity here. It's always good fun, and I love you all for it. So massive shout out to everybody in chat there. Again, hitting over 50 viewers again this evening, which was really great to see. So thanks to everybody. If you haven't already, and I know we hate to do this and we hate to shout it, but if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe, because it makes a massive world of difference to us. But let's get to the outros. And before I say this, what I'm going to do is I've done, in the background here, I have collaborated all of the trailers and included the trailer that Erwin loves right on the end, so it blends perfectly into that Banished trailer. So a nice little collection there for you all blended into one to watch just before we go. But General, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here again this evening and talk all things Halo. Let people know.
I love talking Halo.
where they can find you, of course, and of course shout out your channel and what they can expect to see from you going forward.
At the moment, I'm not making videos because I'm currently working on turning my brick shed into a studio, so I can get to making content up there, so I don't keep the family up at night. And you can find me on Twitter, the _general_C. I really do need to change that. I tried to the other day and I couldn't. It wouldn't let me. And on YouTube, the General C. Yeah, I want to change it to the General C, but it won't have any of it because the underscores are a little bit annoying.
General C. General
and you can find me on OnlyFans on the General C UNT.
C-U-N-T.
I've only got one subscriber on there, though. That's Erwin.
Thank you to Vicious Price for subscribing. Thank you, brother. Yes, but yeah, what have you got coming up anyway? Shout out your channel. Have you got any videos coming up over the next few weeks? I know you've got something coming up with the Gamers Watch crew, but yeah, what else have you got coming up?
I do have a Halo unboxing, 15th of next month.
Ooh.
Not too far away. For the limited edition console and the limited edition Elite version 2 controller. I always get confused with that because it's the first version and the second version.
Yeah.
And I also have I've started writing the Back for Blood Pass for Play, and that should be out maybe next week or the week after, depending on how my setup is going and if I can get the sound right up there and everything.
Nice. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. If everybody hasn't already subscribed to the General C, please go and do so, and obviously give him a massive follow on Twitter. Just
one more thing. I will be doing a Halo Infinite giveaway. Sorry, I accidentally hit my mic there.
Yes.
There's a standard edition copy of Halo Infinite that comes with the limited edition. I don't need it because I've already got the game pre-ordered. So I will be giving that away in my Pass or Play episode. I'm deciding whether it'll be words hidden throughout the video, maybe 3 or 4 words, or maybe numbers, but they'll be Halo themed. So throughout that Pass or Play for Halo Infinite, the first person to send me screenshots of each of those numbers or words, what I choose, will get the code.
Nice.
And maybe letters as well, like C-U-N-T? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I said that for the OnlyFans.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Brilliant. Next up, Age of Boxenberger. Good evening, sir. Let people know, of course, where they can find you. And you've got a new video out as well. So obviously promote that. Shout it from the rooftop.
Yeah, I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. I just uploaded it about an hour or hour and a half before we started with the show. It basically covers all the Xbox news of the week that kind of got overlooked in the big Halo discussion. I mean, obviously Halo is the big topic to talk about, but there were actually a few other announcements going around. Of course, there is the addition of Twitch that is added natively into the dashboard. We talk about that in the video. We also talk about how you can now stream with GeForce Now games, PC games, to your console. We also talk about the latest revenue numbers from the Xbox division that Microsoft published, I think today or yesterday,
yes,
depending on where you live. We talk about that. We talk, of course, about Age of Empires a little bit, and of course, there's also a little bit of Halo talk in there. But its focus is definitely on all the other things that happened in the world that is Xbox, and I do find it very interesting. And even though that game news are really light these days, somehow Xbox always brings up some sort of news, and you never get being bored in the Xbox ecosystem at the moment, and that's really awesome to see. And if you think about what releases will be coming up tomorrow, Age of Empires, again, highly recommended to everyone. Then we have in less than 2 weeks Forza Horizon 5, and then Halo Infinite, and we have the 20th anniversary. So we are not going to get bored over the next weeks, and it's just an awesome time to be a gamer. And yeah, so if you want to learn more about all that stuff, definitely check the channel out. You can find it under Boxenberger. It's also Boxenberger on Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and again, here on YouTube. And big thank you to the chat. You guys have been awesome as always, and it's always a pleasure to talk and chat with you guys. Of course, the panel, awesome. Dutch, Erwin, it's always a pleasure. And General C, you've been a fantastic guest here today. I hope to see you back soon.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a blast. Thanks. It's always a fun to be on a podcast. I've been on the Gamers Watch show with you, which has been awesome. That was a fantastic discussion. So it's always fun to chat with you, and I hope to do it soon again. And yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to hopefully not play Age of Empires, but I'm already having my mouse cursor above the start button. So as soon as we are finished, I'm weak.
Oh yeah, Erwin finally gets his wish. Next time I pop up on midweek mix up, I should be on camera.
Yes.
Wow! Finally. Finally. That's awesome, man. You're beautiful.
Next time you see General C on this, it will be the face reveal. Exclusive.
You look better than another
world premiere
than the other couple panel members that I saw. So you're fine, General.
Yeah. I'm overcoming my anxiety issues. I'm gonna
throw that out of the window, man. Come on, you can do it. You do great.
Last but not least, of course, Forza Erwin. Nice to see you back, brother. The same show as Boxenberger for a change. I started to think you were both the same person at one point, and that you just. But yeah, let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Yes, good to be back. Good to see WandrinDutch again on the same podcast. I actually missed him a lot. But we will have some fantastic times in the future when Halo releases. I will be promoting the motivational speech before every match, so it will be tons of fun. People who know and saw the videos know what we were talking about. But I will keep the outro short because WandrinDutch wants to play. Normally I was making YouTube videos, but my laptop actually came back today from repair. Guess what? They didn't repair shit. No, they didn't repair anything. So they didn't send, they were sending it back. And suddenly we get from the postal service, hey, there's a package from you from the MediaMarkt coming back. So we were like, oh, we weren't informed if it was fixed or not. So we already didn't have a good feeling. And my fiance picked it up. And the laptop was in, but it was still broken. So the laptop will have to send again back and to go to customer service again and all that kind of fucking bullshit. But it also means that I cannot make any videos at all, not editing at least, and I will be streaming soon, I think. But if we just could stream from the Xbox to YouTube, that will be already a massive gain. But I saw that the Twitch app is going to be integrated in the dashboard, so that's a nice step. But YouTube needs to be there because that's something that pisses me off from Xbox still. I don't know why they don't do it, because when the Xbox One launched, we had a YouTube
straight
upload.
To YouTube,
yeah, exactly. An upload, not streaming, but uploading videos. And PlayStation can do it, so why not for Xbox? But you can find my channel if you're interested. It's a little bit dead then at the moment. Well, I will try to fix it soon. It's called Racing from Home. You can find me there. I was streaming also with Mr. Chris Grannell, who is coming back hopefully soon to the podcast. We love him and we miss him a lot.
Yep.
So hope he will be back. People can find me on Forza Erwin on Twitter. I'm retweeting a lot of Shiba news from the cryptocurrency because it's going to the freaking moon. Step in, guys, or you won't be a freaking millionaire. And I will be laughing my ass off when I will be living my life on Hawaii. Oh, la 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 la. I see those. So we'll be having a good time. But yeah, great to be back again. Great to see you guys. Great to see you, Drew. Love the chat. So it was nice to be back, guys.
Awesome stuff. And another, like I say, a final shout out to the awesome chat again this evening. Thank you very much for being here. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at WandrinDutch. And as you probably noticed, there isn't any kind of super chatty things. There's no membership stuff at the minute because YouTube have decided I'm not a real person, so you can't identify me.
You're gender neutral?
But yeah, that shall be rectified hopefully within the next week or so, depending on how the one reply per day on Google Mail, which is awesome. But yeah, that should be resolved soonish. The memberships and everything will be back up and we can resume. And content will then start flowing again properly. But podcasts for the moment will continue. But awesome to everybody. If you want to, of course, support us, please just drop a subscribe. It is free. Like and share this out so everybody else can potentially find another podcast for themselves to enjoy. And if you do enjoy it, please let us know. Until then, we're going to leave you with that awesome trailer montage again, featuring the Banished trailer. So Hope you enjoy it. I hope everyone has an awesome night, and we will see you all again next week. Goodbye, people.
Thanks again for having me.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Bye.
Since the beginning, Halo was about Master Chief and Cortana, partners protecting humanity. But that is now a distant memory. Humanity is fighting for survival. The Banished have risen, defeated our heroes, and taken control of the mysterious Zeta Halo. We need a savior. We need hope. We need Spartan 117, Master Chief.
Oh, the main batteries are shut down. We're stuck out here. You have one bullet against an entire army. What can you do on your own?
I told you. It's enough.
So I see.
I need you to understand. There's not much time. If you knew how you were going to die, how would you live your life differently? How would you live your life differently?
What happened? Where is Cortana?
The rogue AI known as Cortana is gone. She's been deleted.
How? By you?
Of course not. Did you hit your head or something? Don't you remember? My instructions were to enter this installation, imitate Cortana, and lock her down for retrieval. Yours were to take her back to the Infinity for deletion. So if it wasn't you... Okay then. There's something else. On successful deployment, my deletion routine was supposed to complete. Still here.
Good.
Good.
Something stopped your deletion. We need to find out why.
But this wasn't the mission.
The missions changed. They always do.
Are you sure?
We have a new mission, soldier.
What is it? What's down there?
A weapon.
A weapon? How many guns do you need?
In the biggest campaign to date, Halo Infinite invites players to become Master Chief and discover true Spartan freedom in the most wide-open and adventure-filled Halo experience yet. But Chief won't be alone on the journey. His first mission is to retrieve a new AI, codenamed the Weapon.
It's been 6 months. Where have you been?
Following the events of Halo 5, Master Chief is searching for the answer to a troubling question. What happened to Cortana?
I was created to lock down Cortana, but I don't know why. What did she do that was so wrong?
Order received. Stand by.
The answer is somewhere on Zeta Halo. A damaged world full of wonder, mystery, and danger. And And at every turn, the Banished are hunting Master Chief and the remnants of the UNSC.
Victory is already ours. We will meet on the battlefield.
The Banished army is spread across the surface, building fearsome strongholds and outposts with no one to stop them. Until now. From the beginning of the Halo saga, Master Chief has been a hero, ready to fight and win against impossible odds.
Our weapons online! Chief, is that you?
You're safe now. Incoming.
But what if it's a friend?
It isn't.
Players now have more freedom than ever before to take down the Banished any way they choose.
Banished facility up ahead, Chief. Some kind of salvage operation. What do we do?
Shut it down. Permanently.
What do we have here?
Fight me!
Do you see that? Could be useful, if you like that kind of thing.
Oh, I like it.
Halo Infinite allows us all to become Master Chief, doing what Spartans do best, defying the odds to take down the Banished. Piece by piece. This won't be an easy fight. Master Chief will take on returning favorites and surprising new threats, like the agile Skimmers, a sadistic Spartan killer named Jaga Erdomnai.
Goodbye.
Look out, Chief. He looks
Angry.
And something even more threatening.
The Forerunner's lies are at an end. I am the harbinger of the truth. You are not the future.
Exploring this vast and fractured world will put Spartan 117 to the ultimate test. But where there is courage, there is hope. Welcome to the new era of Halo.
Is everyone trying to kill you?
It kind of seems like it.
Hope. It makes you weak. Humanity clings to the belief that a savior will come, that a hero will rise, shrouded in armor to save you. It won't. Armor can be broken, bodies shattered. When you look back on these last days, you will realize that all you built was a tomb. A place where hope dies.
Play it day one with...